Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's video we'll be making this beautiful dress with an asymmetric neckline and drape by the side. Please guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Using this fabric to make the asymmetric gown or monostrap gown, and I'm going to be using this and this might be the design or the down part of the gown, and we're going to be using this. Okay, so this is a 2 yards of Ankara fabric that my client wanted to make this dress with, so I'll be using these two fabric for the dress. Okay, so before cutting the dress, we are going to make our pattern for the upper part and the lower part of our dress. I've already drafted the basic bodice pattern for this, and I've gone ahead and insert our nipple to nipple measurement. So the nipple to nipple measurement that you have, you divide it by 2, and once you have, you are going to mark it from the chest line to the waistline. What you do now is you are going to take your tape. We are going to be inserting 2 inch. So the 2 inch, you take it from your underbust, so you mark 1.5 inch to the right and 1/2 inch to the left. So you do it for both the underbust and the waistline. To take your ruler, your curve rule, and you're going to connect it to your bust line. Okay, so we are doing it this way. Okay. After connecting it now, you are going to take your ruler and you are going to draw a straight line connecting this 1/2 inch together downward. Then you connect the 1.5 inch, connect it to the waistline and draw it downward. What we are trying to do is to achieve the princess dart for the upper part of the dress. Okay, so that's what we are trying to do right now. When you are done with this part, we'll come to the armhole and insert your armhole. So you are going to take your bust measurement, divide by 4, and what I have is 7.75, and I'm going to mark 7.75 here. Then I'm going to connect it, but before connecting it, you are going to take your tape and find the midpoint. So we have 6 here and the midpoint is 3. Then you come in by 1/2 inch and connect it to the chest line. Okay, so we've gotten our front part of our shirt. So we've gotten the armhole. Also, to get the dart for the armhole, you are going to take the total measurement for your armhole. What I have is 7.25. The 7.25, you divide it by 2, and what you have is 3.25. So you take your curve ruler now and you mark 3.65. Take this one that we have here and connect it to the bust point. So you are going to do it this way. Take your ruler and connect it. When you are done with this part, you are going to take your tape now and come up by 1 inch. So you'll be marking 1 inch on this part. Can you see it? After you mark your 1 inch, take your tape and mark 1/2 inch on both sides. The reason why I'm marking 1/2 inch on both sides is because stick out. Also, that's why I'm marking 1/2 inch on both sides. So you take it and you are going to connect it to this 1 inch that we came up with on the bust line. Okay, so connect it. So I've connected the dart for the armhole. So we've gotten our princess dart. So what you are going to do next is this point to this point, you calculate it. So what we have is 1 inch, and you are going to take your tape and come up by 1 inch on this point. So you mark your 1 inch and you connect it to your chest line. So this is now going to be our new armhole curve. Okay, so it's now going to be our new armhole and our new armhole curve. Okay, so this is what is going to give us our new armhole curve. So what you do next is you insert your measurement. So what we have is 7.6, and we are going to insert our sewing allowance. So what I have extra is 1 inch, so I'll be adding 1 inch here, and when I'm cutting the fabric I will add half an inch to it when I'm cutting the fabric. So I'll add half inch. So I have 7.6 here, then I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. I'm going to add half inch for ease when I'm cutting the fabric. So on the chest line, on the bust line, you're just going to mark same thing, 7.6, then your 1 inch sewing allowance. You do the same thing and mark the add half an inch when cutting. So for our waist we have 6, because the waist measurement is 24. You mark your 6 inches, then you come, what we have is 2 inches, right? So you add the 2 inches for the dart that we're going to cut out, and your 1 inch for sewing allowance. So just mark it, and we'll add half inch later when we are cutting the top. When we are cutting it, so we'll add half inch to all the relevant parts. So now take your ruler and connect the lines. This is what we have for our front, and we are going to insert our neckline. So the purpose of this tutorial is the neckline, not the princess dart bustier that we did. Is the neckline. First you cut the shoulder line. Asymmetric neckline, you have to open the fabric into 2. So for the front part, you first of all, the first thing you do is you are going to cut, after removing the shoulder, you cut out the right side of our pattern. Cutting the one side of our top, so we're going to keep the right side aside and we're going to work on the left side. Okay, so you cut it this way. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm going to cut everything out so that we'll be able to do our neckline. To get our neckline, you are going to open the pattern paper this way, open it into 2, and we're going to get the neckline. We're going to take how you want your shoulder to be. So my shoulder here, I'm going to make it about 3.5 inch wide. So I mark 3.5 inch here. Then on this part, I'll mark 1.5 inch. Okay, so I'll be marking 1.5 inch. That is how wide, how tiny I want this part to be. Okay, so after you've gotten this part now, so 1.5 inch, 2.5 inch. The depth of the neck, I want it to be 6 inches. So I'm going to mark 6 inches. Then take your ruler and draw a straight line. Square it up on both sides. So we are going to draw a square box for it before we start drawing our asymmetric line. When you are done, when you've gotten this and you've drawn your square, you are going to draw a diagonal line to meet the 1.5 inch. Okay, so from the 3.5 inch, you are going to draw a diagonal line to meet the 1.5 inch. Okay, so I'm drawing it this way. Can you see it? From the point of the arrow, that's where you are going to draw it from. So we are done with our neckline, and we've gotten our neckline. So you are going to cut it this way. Cutting our front piece. Okay, we've gotten our front piece. So when you want to cut it on your fabric, this is how you are going to place it on your fabric and cut. You are not going to fold it into two, because remember, the neckline is quite different. So we are placing it this way on our fabric and we are going to cut. So this is it. This is our front piece. Can you see? So this is how it's going to be like. Okay, so we're going to keep this aside and cut our back. For the back, you draft your basic bodice pattern and you just do your armhole and every other relevant part. So we're going to connect it together. What I'm trying to do now is to get the armhole curve, and this is it. Back curve, and I inserted the nipple to nipple measurement. On the waistline, you are going to come in by 1/2 inch on both sides for our dart. So you mark it, and from this chest line, you are going to come down by 1 inch and you connect the dart. You want to add princess dart to the back. You are going to find the midpoint of this, so you connect it to this point. So what I have is 6.6, and so we're going to mark, and we're going to mark 3.2 here. Then you connect it. You can go up by 1/2 inch. Okay, so start going up by 1/2 inch, just connect it. I connected it to the 1 inch sewing allowance. Then you come to your waist and you insert the waist we have is 6 inches. Then you mark your 6 inches, 1 inch for the dart that we took in, and 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. So on this part, we are going to add 1/2 inch to it. So connect it B. Okay, so for the neckline, you can leave it the same way. So what I'm doing is I'm using 3.5 inches for the neckline. I'm going to mark it, and for the depth of the back, I'm using 2 inches for the back depth. Then connect. So when you've cut it, you can adjust it to how you want it to be. Okay, so you adjust the back pattern when you are done cutting it on the fabric and joining the shoulder to shoulder together. You cut it and add 1/2 inch. Okay, so we've gotten our back piece, and you are going to add 1/2 inch on this side, add 1/2 inch on this side, same thing here and same thing here. Okay, then this part too, just this upper part of the side. So you keep the back, take the front now, and you do the same thing, add 1/2 inch. We've gotten our pattern for this dress, so you keep the pattern aside. So we are going to draft the bottom part of the dress. I folded my pattern paper into two in order for me to draft the down part of our dress. So our waist measurement is 24, so you are going to divide 24 by 4, and whatever you have is what you put as our waist measurement. So this straight line is for sewing allowance. Okay, you mark the 6 inches, then you mark 1 inch for that. So for the 6 inches, we are going to take it this way and divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and you come down by 5 inch. Mark the 5 inch and connect the line. So you come here and you come to this point and you mark your 1/2 inch on both sides. Then you connect it. Our hip measurement is 34 and her hip depth is 13. She has a very curvy hip, so we are going to mark the 13 inches and draw a straight line. My pattern paper is very small, so I'm going to add the other part of the skirt when I'm drafting it on the fabric. Okay, our hip 34 divided by 4 is 8.5. You are going to mark the 8.5 here, and you are going to add 1 inch sewing allowance. So you connect it. We've gotten this part, come down by 1/2 inch and connect it. So this one that we did is for the front. We are going to do it this way. I decided to just draft it on the pattern paper, and when you are doing yours, you can do it on the fabric, front and the back together. When you want to cut the back on the fabric, you are going to add your zipper allowance. So this is our back piece and this is our front piece. Can you see it? So you are going to take and cut it out. So we've gotten our pattern, and all you are going to do next is to take your pattern paper and cut it on your fabric. These are the pieces that we cut out, and we've cut out the top and the bottom part of the dress. So the next thing we are going to do is to join our dress together. I've pinned it, so you join the sides together, the two sides. After joining the side, my client says she does not want anything busty, so that's why I'm not using any interfacing for it. So I'll just be using just the lining. So you join the side and do the same thing for the back and the lining of the upper part of the dress. Then when we are done with this part, we are going to join the down part also. We'll join the two sides together and the dart. When I'm done with that, I'm going to show you what to do next. So this is it, and we've turned the neckline and everything. So what you are going to do now, you are going to take it this way and you are going to join the sides together. So you'll be joining the side, the lining piece together. Okay, so you stitch it to the end. Just join the lining piece, or the lining piece together. Okay, so this is the upper part of our dress, and I've stitched it and joined the two sides together. So this is it. We're going to keep this aside and work on the back. So this is the back, one side of the back, and this is the other side of the back. So this is how the back looks like. This is how it is. So you're going to keep this aside, then we can work on the front. So I'll be using this fabric for the drape, okay, and the fabric is, so this is how wide it is. The wideness is 32 inches, okay, so that's what I'll be using for the drape. And I'm going to come and fold it. Can you see what I'm doing? I folded it this way, then to where I want it to stop, I'm going to place it here. Okay, so after pinning it, secure it with a pin. When you are done with that, you come to the upper part of the skirt, then fold it also into two and pin it. So you'll be pinning it this way. So we're giving this part, this upper part, because we'll be joining the top to the skirt, so that's why we gave that 1 inch. So you're going to plait it this way now. Okay, so this is it. Come to this edge. Okay, so you can, before you end everything, you can hem the both sides. So you come to this edge and you are going to fold it into two this way and fold it again and close it. Okay, but I'm going to use hemming gum to close this part because I don't want to see the stitch. So I'm going to use the hemming gum and press it to the end of this other part. Okay, so that's what I'll do on the upper part. Then when you are done, you are going to use an holding, something that will hold it in. Okay, so when you are done gathering it, you can actually give it a bit of space for it to just fall. Then you create a space for it, a tack, just tack a bit of a casing for it. So the casing is just going to be from the waist to, just like you can create a casing of 3 inches, then tack it on it and tack it on both sides of the front piece. So when your client or when you want to wear it, you can adjust it with the casing. Okay, so just add the casing to it. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it on my client's body. So I just want to show you how to achieve the pleating for the design of the dress. Okay, so when you are done with this part now, you're going to take the back piece. Okay, so this is the back piece. So you place it together and you stitch. You take this other part, put everything inward and do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to stitch it to the end of the skirt. You stitch it to this point, then you do the same thing for this other side and stitch it to the end of your skirt. Okay, so you stitch it to the end. This is the sleeve of our top and this is how it looks. Okay, it's like a balloon sleeve, just with the gathers and everything on it. Okay, so this is how it looks. In order for you to achieve this, I folded my fabric into two so that the two sides will be on the right side. Okay, so after folding it into two, I did gathers on it, on the edge of it. After doing the gathers, you are going to stitch this part from, this part down to the end here so that you can insert your elastic. Okay, you are going to be using your round armhole. After getting that your round armhole, you multiply it by 5 So if your round armhole is 20, multiply it by 5 so that you can get the fullness, or you multiply it by 10 for you to get the fullness. Okay, so or for you to get the fullness of the sleeve, in order for you to get that. That is if you want to use measurements to achieve that. You can actually do it freestyle and just cut something that is big, and you'll be able to use that for your armhole, okay, for your sleeve. So just cut something that is big. You can freestyle it by cutting something that is big for your sleeve. So after doing the gathers, I took the measurement, and after doing the gathers I took the measurement, and what I have is here is 12. So I'm going to gather it to increase it, because armhole is 14. So I'm still going to increase it. Okay, so I've gotten what I need, and I'm going to come this way now and stitch it 1/2 inch or 1 inch. You can decide, it depends on the elastic you are using. I'm using the half inch elastic, so you come in by 1/2 inch and stitch it round. After stitching it round, you insert the elastic and sew the two sides this way. You're going to sew it this way. So after inserting the elastic, sew it this way. Then when you are done, insert it to your sleeve. Okay, so this is our skirt, and this is how it looks. I've stitched it, and this is the front part of the skirt. It's coming out now so well. And what you are going to do next is you are going to create your band. Okay, so this is what I use. I'm going to use this to hold it in on this part of the, okay, so it's what I'm going to use. It's going to be something like this. Okay, so you're going to tack it in, but in order for you to do it to be accurate, your clients have to put it on her. So when she put it on, then you are going to tack it so that it will stay and it will have that fall. Okay, so you are going to tack it on your client in order for you to achieve that. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tack it on her when she comes for fitting, before I do that other part. Then don't forget to hem this side. When you are done with that part, iron it up and join the front side, join the upper side of your dress to the down side of your dress. After joining the upper side and the down side, add your zipper, and you are done with your beautiful asymmetric gown. Okay, it's your beautiful asymmetric gown.